to ban the sale of cats and dogs in Toronto pet shops because, you see those cute little puppies and kittens and people buy them. You think of the Paris Hilton thing where they put it in their purse and then they toss it away type of stuff. But I thought, you need to go to like a shelter or a breeder or something. You just need to see what the parents of the dog look like. If you have a crazy dog, you have a crazy puppy. So I did that, and that's how I became animal activist. We actually, in 2011, here in Toronto, we banned the sale of cats and dogs in front of pet shops. And now you can only go into a pet shop if you want to adopt from a rescue or a shelter, or you need to go to people's home if you get from a breeder. So it's a lot nicer for people to actually see a dog in a more happy, healthy setting. And my own dog, she was the one that motivated me to do it.
Well,
just out of curiosity, do you have a cat or a dog?
No. I'm not very good with animals. I have problems with the two-legged ones. I mean, I'm not home enough to have a pet. So, and I live alone. So who's the pet going to be here with? If I'm out on the road all the time hustling, if you know what I mean.
I know. I heard some gay men like to have pet chickens.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, if I was to have an animal, I'd probably have a donkey. I'm just kidding.
Like the one in Shrek that talks to you. Somebody carry the suitcase to the show.
Hello. now that so do you have any political, like you were part of the Green Party, right?
I was, I'm now the former candidate for Spadina Fort York for the Green Party, so I'm no longer a Green Party candidate, but I do support the Green Party. Okay. The main reason why I did support them is because of my animal activism. Because, factory farming and that type of thing does cause global climate change, with the emissions from the animals, the amount of food that's grown for them. So that's how I got involved with them. But yeah, they're a great party. Very caring people. Good people. They have a huge LGBTQ support.
Oh, okay. So do you have any political aspirations now?
Right now, I started as a community activist, and that's what I want to go back to. That's my passion, like getting people out, meeting people.
Sometimes,
who knows? But
sometimes our mission in life and what's cut out for us is service. Mm-hmm. It's not so much being the leader. It's about helping the community and service. Now, as you see in the last, let's just say in the last 10, 15 years, our community, the decline in the closing of the bars, the decline of just the condition of our community. What do you think is happening?
You know what's funny? When you and I were in our prime, we're still in our prime.
Thank you, Dean. Thank you very much for reminding me.
Back when the Golden Girls were on prime time in the 80s. But when we were younger, we went to bars. We went out to meet. You didn't go online to meet people. You went to the coffee shop. You went to the bars. Sometimes you got lost late at night out in places. But we met people. And now it's all, Grindr and this and everything and Scruff or whatever have you. But people are meeting each other online and they're bypassing the part where they get to meet you. Now, before you meet someone, you've seen everything. You've seen from head to toe and in between and inside, outside.
Yeah.
Before, you go to the bar, you dance, you have a few drinks, you get a bit tipsy, and you see them in the red light, and my God, they look good.
Yeah.
You didn't get excited or depressed till you saw them at home. But like those things don't happen now. Like the social interaction is more so like text messaging versus going out and saying, "Hey, I'm so and so. These are my friends." Going out drinking and that sort of stuff, and dancing and having fun and going eating after. Like those things don't happen. And I think it's reflecting in the bars where people are going out later and later. Like right now, when the people go out, you and me are getting ready for bed.
Yeah. I mean, trust me, I'm an old lady. Around 7 o'clock, it's time to roll up.
There you go.
Now, we live in Toronto where they say multiculturalism is alive and well, but yet look at the protests, what does that say about Canada's multiculturalism?
Well, I say it's alive. Yes, multiculturalism is alive. Well, I don't know if it's that really well, because as a white person and you're a black person, I don't understand some of the things that you've experienced. But I've seen it every now and again out of the corner of my eye. Like, even when I go shopping, so you look around and out the corner of my eye, when you're not even noticing it, I'm seeing like a security guard or something watching someone, and I look over and it's a black person. I'm saying, and they must know what's happening. You must know that you're being watched and everything. And like, I can't imagine that life of where I'm just being under constant scrutiny. And I've seen it. It's terrible. I really don't know how they're going to fix it unless they actually, we look at everything, like how laws are made, how healthcare, housing, everything needs to be taken care of. It can't just be a one type of thing. But I think it's been pushed under the rug so far that it's boiled over. And you've seen stuff already, like when police they do things, and it's so everything's always self-defense. Everything is self-defense. Well,
now for me, I see for a long time. I mean, I'm lucky that I had good parents that at the end of the day, no matter what I went through in the past, I didn't know that I would be okay where I am now.
Right.
Because my parents didn't tell me that. When they passed on, they left that to me, and I'm going to be okay. So I am lucky that way, even though I tried for many, many years to fit into the community, to do my part, to try to make money, to just be independent. Now, there's such a thing as privilege. Do you think white people automatically feel that they have white privilege and nothing and no one else matters?
I'm not sure if they consciously think they have white privilege, but they don't experience difficulty as much as other people do. Like, if I go to a store, I probably don't experience half the things other people do of other backgrounds. When I apply for an application, my name is Dean Marr. I'm probably considered more than somebody who has a stereotypical name that somebody has associated with another culture, what have you. And even in the gay community, you hear people saying, "Oh, I'm not into Asian guys. I'm not into black guys," or and you've heard it too. It's like, even in the gay community, and they say, "Why aren't you into Asian guys?" It's like, this blanketed, it is racism. It really is. If you say you're not into Asian guys, sorry, but it is a bit racism. I shouldn't say a bit. It is. It just is systemic, that sort of stuff. But one thing that I think we need to acknowledge as gay people is, and you and I especially, is that the generation before us was decimated. So during AIDS in the 80s, the generation before us has been pretty much decimated, wiped out. So when we came onto the scene, who were our mentors? Like, if AIDS wasn't an issue, you'd probably have a lot of black mentors. I'd probably have a lot of older guys who would teach me the way, say, don't do this, don't do that. You'd see how, but when we came into the scene, it was a free-for-all. We didn't know what we were doing. We were just like party central, and we were trying to find our own way. And I think without that, I guess that father figure-ish, it's a weird term, but that generation before us, we didn't have guidance or what have you. But now you see the generations, after us. Look, they have rights. They go to school. They date. They're openly dating in high school. They see our example, and we help them, whether directly or indirectly, show them that it's okay to be like us. We fought for you, but we didn't have that, so it makes it even more difficult for us. That's how I feel.
Okay. So I can make sure we tie it all in. How do you identify?
I identify myself as a gay man. I really just identify myself as Dean. I take a different look on everything. So just so everybody knows, I am a vegan. For me, every life, is equal, whether you're a cat or a dog or a person or a cow. So that throws people off a bit. But when I look at that, I think every life is so precious, because they say, there are as many suns in this universe there's more suns in this universe than there are, grains of sand on this earth. So the fact that we're all alive, we just need to respect all life. Every life is precious. I say on my Facebook page, just be kind to people. Be kind to all living things. So that's my motto. I don't judge. I judge people by their behaviors. I don't judge people by any other criteria. So I don't care what you look like on the inside or outside. As long as you're kind, I'll really like you. If you're an a-hole, I'm not going to like you.
Now, when you said that you were a vegan, I'm gonna be honest. For years, I was a vegetarian. A lot of people didn't know that, but when I got sick, I had my stroke. The doctors told me that I had a hemoglobin problem. I was becoming anemic, and if I didn't change and start eating meat, I was gonna die. That's what they told me. They said because everything was going in the wrong direction. So. Okay. But I was always wondering why I was always so tired and this and that. And then because I never could stand the smell of meat. Mm-hmm. So, but once I start killing it with hot sauce and barbecue sauce.
For me, about being veganism, it's very important that you read labels. You need to make sure you're getting all your nutrition. And now it's so different. Like a vegan 5 years ago, it was difficult. A vegan now, I can find anything I want with the nutritional value with one. So it's easier now, but it's like anything. You need to read the labels. You need to make sure you're getting your nutrition. You can't just start eating things and not be aware of it. Especially being a vegan, because you're making a dietary change that affects your life. You need to exactly know what's going in and make sure everything is balanced.
Oh, okay. Now, let's go back to the protest. Now, not that, I hate saying from a white point of view, because but this is what people want to hear.
No, you should say it. You should say white point of view. The Western society is built on white, heterosexual Christianity. Let's be honest. Let's call it like it is.
That's true.
If you don't fit into all three, you're not part of the group. And then all these people who don't agree with it, it doesn't matter. If you're not part of the three group, there's people out there who don't like you. They might not say it now. It might come out later, but you're part of that group they don't like. I'm part of the group they don't like because I'm the gay one.
Oh.
but I physically fit in for the other slots. But once you find I'm a gay, you'll see prejudice come towards me. You're visible. So yeah, people don't like you because you're black. Then they find out you're gay. It's like tick, tick, ticks. Mm-hmm. So it is a white heterosexual Christian society, the Western world has been built on. And they don't want to change it because it works so well for that group.
Okay. Now, what do you think that, like you said, Western society thinks of the protest? Do you really think that they feel that this will have an impact? Do you think they're scared that this will bring change?
I'm not sure they really are scared. Here's my example. When you go on Facebook or any other social media, you will see people post things and you'll see, angry faces and tear emojis, but you cannot change the world through social media. You need to actually, as Bill Clinton once said, you need to suit up and, join the fight. So when you see people like Black Lives Matter, they're the ones who suited up. So yes, they do social media, but they're the ones who are actually demanding change, doing the marching, going to the, to the decision makers. They're the ones who are making this change. They will do it because they have made a change. They just it hasn't reached a level where it needs to be changed even more, but they're getting there. Those are the people. When you get out and you start, when your boots physically hit the ground, that's when you start making the change. You can't do it through Facebook. You can't do it through Twitter. You need to get out there and be visible. People need to hear you. It's uncomfortable for people, but something? When is change ever comfortable for people? Okay. Look what gay people. Look what we did as gay people. Mm-hmm. You need to ruffle feathers.
That's
ruffle a lot of them.
You're right. Now, do you think Western society feels like they're unsafe? Like this is not a good thing as far as their safety goes?
I think people feel safe. I think, media and groups who want to agitate, and they're the ones who are throwing out, the unsafe type of thing. Perfect example, when you watch on the news, especially some of these right-wing media people, and you hear about them talking about, we need to protect the shops. Like, people's lives are being killed. Like, somebody died from having somebody on his neck for 8 minutes. The Gap can put up a new window in their store. You can't bring back a person who was just killed. So, that's the story that some right-wing media are putting out there. You just need to ignore. You need to keep going out. You need to ruffle the feathers. You need to get people upset, because that's how change is made. And yes, they are going to make changes because people are just so fed up. When you look at this pandemic is a changing point, I believe, because right now people have lost their jobs. They've lost hope. And when you have people who've lost hope and they're being oppressed and the system isn't working for them, it's like, enough is enough. What do you have to lose? Right now, you're going to go out there and you're going to fight. You're going to say, you're going to listen to me. Sorry, it's upset. The people who are breaking the windows, those people are not part of the fight. But something, you can deal with them on your own time, because we're not stopping with our protests. We're going to make you hear us. And that's what's happening now, I believe. And I think things are going to change.
Okay. Now, do you see, how do you figure the coronavirus and the protests? Do you think the coronavirus was more important than the protest?
The coronavirus, this is how I look at it. If it was coming from me, this is how I would look at it. The coronavirus is something to be concerned about, but if I'm concerned that I can be killed just going to the store, or going to work, or meeting my friends, or going for a jog in the park, it's perspective. I think the actual protests are more important at this time. They really are. We need to uplift the society, but we can do it safely when people wear masks and so forth. But there comes a point where you can't use that as an example, because the virus is going to be taken care of. We're going to find a vaccine, but we need to stay safe while we're doing it. But we cannot keep doing generation systematic racism towards people. We need to fight back for that. But please, wear a mask. Try to keep a distance, because the virus is still out there. That's still killing people. But I guess when people are looking at that, it's like, I can't just sit back anymore. I need to get out there. I need to make my voice heard. And that's what I'm seeing with this.
You know what I like, though, Dean? I like the fact that, back in the 50s and 60s, when Martin Luther King and all the civil rights people were trying to get their voices heard, there was a lot more violence. We're not seeing as much violence now. I think because
from the protesters and the demonstrators.
From the demonstrators, I think because society in general understands each culture in a sense, because we deal with each other, whether we're dealing with each other working, we're interacting, we're even marrying, we're hooking up. We have some sense of what the truth really is about a certain race. Now,
and the processes are peaceful. It's only the crackdown. That's when the violence starts. Of course, people are going to react when people are coming at them with, shields and batons and tear gas. Of course, you're going to fight back and react. That's just natural. You're not just going to take it. But up to those points, most of these protests are very peaceful, and they're just asking to be heard.
Now, do you think in general, because we haven't had the kind of protests that they've had in the U.S. in a volume of that magnitude, because of course we're a smaller population. But do you think most Canadians, I would say voting Canadians, because you were a politician one time and you felt that you maybe have a voice in Parliament. Do you feel that voting Canadians care enough about this racism issue?
I think Canadians do. but I don't think Canadians understand how actually deep it is, because we've seen time and time again where somebody from a marginalized community is shot or killed, and it's usually by police, and it comes across saying, you know, it was self-defense and so forth. But there was never that second look to find out, was it really self-defense, like, or was it just, you know, things that went really bad from the police ends? And I think we need to review that, because I think a lot of Canadians are starting to realize that, you know, we have issues here, but we're not just being told about them. In the US, they have body cams, you know, cell phone footage all the time. There's so many people, so they're catching things. And I think we need to actually take a relook at everything that's happened, because I think a lot of the things that have happened here, we need to take a second look, because I think a lot of the things that happened to certain marginalized communities was not handled in the correct way. I think that the police need to be more accountable for what happened.
Now that you said that, I'm trying to word this properly, because I asked in another conversation of mine, I wanted people to understand that this was not coming from a racist point in my mind. Mm-hmm. This is coming from fact. Each year, every time we vote, I vote. Mm-hmm. But I noticed that Toronto has a very high 5.7 million people in this city, but they don't vote. What is happening with the census? Why doesn't the census work? Why don't the government know who's living even in these new buildings going up? Nobody seems to know who's living here. Isn't that what the census is for?
The census usually gives you an idea of the community, so it can get resources for it. That's a good question, because I don't know the answer. I think that's something that we really need to look at. I think we really need to get people to vote, because here's a perfect example of what's happening in the US. They're catering to the people who will get them into power. Mm-hmm. So when people don't vote, they cater to the ones who are going to get them into power. But I think things are changing. I think people are starting to realize that, you know something, it's going to get worse if you don't get out and make your voice heard. And I think things are changing.
Okay, that was the road I was going, because I'm trying to tie it all in together. I want to understand the voting. I want to understand the racism. I want to just understand the mindset of Canadians, people that really value their lives in a sense of voting, working, taking charge of their lives, contributing, and just the mere fact that they're Canadians or Americans or whoever they are around the world, trying to just be part of where they come from, and yet still embracing others.
One thing that I think that we really need to do, it's going to change everything, is that we need to start supporting people from marginalized communities, people from different backgrounds, to get them into the political process. Because honestly, I'll be honest with you. I have the NDP, the Liberals, the Greens. It's pretty white. I'll get to be honest with you. But when you see such good community leaders out there, and you know something, we simply can't just wait for them to say, "I want to do that." We need to start approaching people in the community. Saying, "You're really a good leader. You should consider running. Let us help you. We'll help you build up a team. You're such a great leader, you know, for this community. Why don't you make it on a larger level?" So we need to encourage people to actually come forward who actually are great leaders, and so that we will have a more diverse, more representational group of people who are being elected and running.
You know, it seems that even our community, everybody, we have all these programs that seem to Band-Aid the issue, and then when it gets hot, the Band-Aid falls off.
I know. It's true.
And it happens a lot here. And for me, just being part of our community, and you know how hard I've worked in this community and got beat up many times.
Exactly.
But yeah,
you're literally damned if you don't, damned if you do.
There you go.
But now, you need to do it.
Yeah. You gotta toil on. I mean, I'm lucky now. I don't have to do too much, but I have to. My mother say, "You better do something."
Well,